All right, moving on. We'll move back to our 7 o'clock agenda item, discussion and possible vote on finalizing the Town Administrator Screening Committee, including consideration of representatives selected by the Planning Board, School Committee, and Finance Committee. And Ms. Weston, correct me if I'm wrong, those representatives are Bruce Mackey from the Planning Board, Jen Pratt from the School Committee, and Alan Germain from the Finance Committee, correct? Ms. Pratt or Mr. Germain? Mr. Germain, would you like to address the committee? I think it's I think you should go first.
I'd like to know what he's going to say first, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Germain, I think you should address the committee before we begin our deliberations.
I'd like to know what Mr. Belvin is going to speak of so that I'll know how to respond.
This is not.
Do that after the fact.
This is not going to be a back and forth, Mr. Germain. We'd like to offer you the opportunity to speak to the committee. Would you like to speak to the committee?
I want to reserve the right to respond.
This is not a deliberation. We're going to deliberate as a board. We'd like to give you the opportunity to address the committee. Would you like to address the committee?
I guess I have no choice,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'd like this added into the record for the minutes. You all have a copy, I assume?
We believe we do.
Do you like my copy, to be sure?
No, I think you're talking about the emails, right?
I'm talking
emails,
about
correct?
the emails.
All right. Mr. James, I'd ask you, while I won't limit you to time, I would ask you to please try to keep as close to 3 or 4 minutes as possible.
Well, we all know exactly what is about to be said. So why don't we just get this over with?
Mr. Germain, please.
There's a challenge to my being the FinCom representative by Bob Belbin, Jen Bogart, and unfortunately, Mr. Hoffman, who's not here. So that challenge is based on whatever it's based on. But the fact of the matter is very simple. The charge of the Select Board was a representative from the School Committee, the Planning Board, and the Finance Committee to be chosen by their respective committees. We followed what you asked. You don't like the end result, for whatever your personal reasons are. That's fine, but you don't have the choice, because you cannot meddle or interfere, which is exactly what you did, Mr. Belvin, and that's why these emails are being attached. You tried to tamper with an autonomous committee, requesting that they come back in session, revote, because you don't like me. That's fine. You have that opinion. You cannot tamper with a committee. So do whatever it is you need to do tonight. It's up to you. But you cannot tamper with the vote of the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Germain. Discussion.
Thank you. So, to make it perfectly clear, I did. As a Board of Selectmen member, just one member, me, for information that I have and my knowledge, I felt that the Board of the Finance Committee should pick somebody else to represent them between the Town Administrator Screening Committee. I still feel that way, that he's not a good representative. And further, solidified my decision right now is what happened at the Conservation Commission meeting at the last one.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
There is an email in your possession that's been distributed to this entire board. It was a dispute between me and the Conservation Commission. That has been corrected. Savory Moore and I have discussed it. I'm still a member of the Conservation Commission in good standing as vice chair.
Are we referring to?
It's actually irrelevant to this conversation.
It's completely irrelevant. That's right. I agree. Is there any further discussion on this?
Point of information, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Germain. Is this new information for the board?
Yes, it is. May 18, 2021 meeting minutes from the Select Board. You bear with me for 1/2 a second. I have a copy of it. There was a vote, Town Administrator Screening Committee. Just a shovel, there it is. I got it. Makeup of the screening committee. Motion by Belvin to appoint the following as the makeup of the screening committee to include one current member of the finance committee, one current member of the school committee, one current member of the planning board, 3 at-large members, and 1 member from the business community. The aforementioned committees or boards are to designate their appointee at a meeting to be held prior to the 6/1/21 Select Board meeting, and if the committee fails to appoint a member, the Select Board will then appoint the member in their place. Seconded by Hoffman, the vote was 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Jermaine.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Belvin.
I didn't say that the finance committee can't have someone. I just, like I said, I can't support Mr. Jermaine to be on that committee.
I would make a motion to appoint Alan Germain as the Finance Committee appointee to the Town Administrative Screening Committee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
The motion fails. Okay,
Well, what do we do now?
well,
Information, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The only option at this point is to remove the finance committee from the task. So the FinCom will have no representation to it at all, in which case there will be fallout, but the board likes to have fallout.
I don't feel comfortable.
Chairman?
Yes, Mr.
Please.
Mr. Belvin.
That's something that I think the finance committee needs to address as a finance committee, not just the
FinCom will never take
chairperson.
this topic up again.
We already did it.
Okay.
We're done.
Okay, I think it's unfortunate that tonight we don't have a full board. Okay, I think obviously this is something we need a full board for. So,
It wouldn't have changed the outcome.
well,
So the fact is that the FinCom, for the board's own reference, FinCom and me as chairman, for the moment, this will never see an agenda, this will never see a meeting
all right.
minute, this will never see another meeting.
All right.
We will not take this matter back up. So you guys do whatever it is you think is best.
All right.
FinCom deals with the town administrator
Chairman,
more than
he's-
any other.
Mr. Germain, I appreciate your comments, okay? Unfortunately, we have a 2-2 motion, so we will,
So we're done. Have a nice night.
moving
I'll
forward.
go home and be very proud of yourselves, especially you, Mr. Bell.
Moving forward, minutes, licenses, topics not reasonably anticipated by